Hello, viewers and subscribers. Welcome once again my new screencast. Today I try to give it to you really new screencast about the JavaScript and JavaScript frameworks. And this is the screencast that I try to share you or talk to you why it is too important for nowadays for application development, basically the web application development, how it is play really good rules and how it should be as a, if you are as a front-end developer, you should have to be take really a good idea and good JavaScript programming knowledge. And even though different JavaScript frameworks, using how can use to the frameworks into the your web development application. I mean, when you start as a professional software developer, as a front-end developer or web developer, uh, and doesn't matter, as you're a full stack developer, then you need to be clearly understand the basic concept and then concept of the different JavaScript libraries. And even though how can you start your own customized development the JavaScript libraries, and then those libraries you can integrate into the your web development. It doesn't matter it's a very simple web development or GIS based web development or GIS based web programming. That's why I'm trying my best, because to give it to you really very basic level to the advanced level. How can you start the JavaScript programming with different JavaScript frameworks, and then even though even though with the HTML, very basic HTML and CSS, because this is the lectures for the very beginners and up to the professional level. If you saw the pictures like that way, I already had too many examples or too many enterprise level application in my channels. I will show you later in my channel, and you see the example that all the application, I say it is all the enterprise level application, are using the JavaScript library. And the JavaScript third party libraries or JavaScript frameworks. And even though we write down those JavaScript libraries for our functionalities. That's why a lot of viewers and subscribers asking me to give some screencast, how the very beginners or who is already students or some really less experience to get it, like to understanding the how the JavaScript framework work, how the JavaScript work itself. And then that's why a lot of viewers and subscribers asking me to give it to really initial idea of beginners screencast. How can they start up, how can they start? That's why I am really motivated for that one to build it. And that's why I'm trying to do with you, how can you start and how can you think about and how can you write down your JavaScript functions, and simple HTML and CSS, and come up those skill set into your enterprise development applications as a professional level. That's I mean here. So if you saw the pictures like this way, so I have an application like made this very simple JavaScript library from open layers, and very simple HTML, and the JavaScript library here for as Angular and TypeScript. You see the Angular JavaScript library, JavaScript frameworks. That is the most popular front-end development framework that I have example here. And this is the very simple again from the open layer JavaScript library, and this is the JavaScript library from leaflets. That's why that's as I said, I have a lot of experience, a lot of exercise and examples for how can you use those JavaScript libraries and the frameworks into enterprise level applications. So it's the big applications. This is the Java based applications with the time leap and then view technology and GIS function. So if you saw the bottom of the pictures, there is a maps. So this is the maps coming from the for using the open layers, and then I call the open layer JavaScript library, build the maps, and within the maps we build the pop-ups or all sort of validations and these things. That's why I'm trying to give it to you how the enterprise application integrate those JavaScript libraries, that is frameworks and libraries, and even though you libraries. And that's why I'm trying to give it to really very beginner level. How can you start that one? And that's why this is the main idea for this screencast. You just follow the screencast. I believe you can get it as a from very beginner level to the professional level for those applications. Let's saw what I have it in the my channels. So if you use those channels, you go view the UVSoftGroup. This is my channels, and then there's a lot of videos with enterprise level application developments. You see the node.js, JavaScript library, Angular, leaflet, JavaScript library, and build the screencast. There is 13 videos, and this is the open layer based JavaScript libraries integrated the open layer JavaScript library with the node.js and Angular. And here's the you see here this very simple HTML and CSS and Java different graph libraries. You can look for that one also, and this is one of the example that's the very simple HTML JavaScript programming. So you see the if you try to develop a JavaScript, develop a web application, or doesn't matter the enterprise level web application in your daily activities, or even though in your professional career, then you need to be clearly understand how the frameworks JavaScript framework works, and then how the JavaScript libraries you need to be integrate from the third party as like jQuery or other JavaScript or node.js or Angular JavaScript libraries, or that's things you need to be think about, and how can you program it, how can you start it. I will try to give it to really very basic ideas, but you see the pictures how the enterprise level and application, doesn't matter enterprise level application written by the Java or written by the C or Python or other programming languages, it doesn't matter, but every JavaScript, every web application or needs something like JavaScript frameworks and JavaScript libraries to build the web application. That was the idea. So web applications like PayPal or Google Maps or Yahoo or Facebook's, and then eBay, or I can say Amazon, those things, the big web applications. And then that's the application need a lot of places the JavaScript, and then for the validation for other backend data callings, and then all the processing, all sort of the JavaScript forms, the front-end forms, validations, and then the data manipulation from your HTML page and the CSS page. That's why it is important to really clear understanding how the JavaScript framework and JavaScript itself works from very beginning level to the professional level, and finally how can those the skill set from that you have it, then you need to be integrate to your enterprise level application. That is like us, we develop like 15 years in software development every day. For my career, I am really the API developer and the backend developers, and then microservice developer. But when my microservice consuming the front-end developer, that they have used they have the my services, and then they call their JavaScript libraries or JavaScript functionalities to really make the beautiful web applications or interactive web applications. That's why the JavaScript framework and JavaScript itself is important role to play the web application development. So you got the idea what I mean, what can you start, but I promise that I will start from very beginning level to the up to professional level. Just follow the channel, so you can get the overview of how the enterprise level application works, and then you can get the pictures like here. Or if those have no knowledge about the very beginning level, then continue my screencast, and I will show you step by step how can you start the JavaScript programming, and then why it is important, and then how it's play the really critical role as a front-end developer or web developer into the frameworks. Yeah, it doesn't matter which framework you are, but it is playing the good roles. So let's go back to the presentation part. That's what I am looking for. Presentation part. So you can see the presentation part here. So we recap it. So that's why